We've got the Undertaker doing the corporate ministry stuff. We're going to reveal that it's actually Vince who's the higher power. Maybe not the best idea we ever had. We're trying to make logical sense out of that with Linda, and now it's going to become a whole McMahon family issue. We would see Vince McMahon beat Ken Shamrock in 42 seconds of a Lion's Den match. Yeah, that's real. Vince beat Ken Shamrock in a Lion's Den match.
You have to
Vince
explain that one. You have to explain that one to me because it's totally illogical.
Yeah,
Totally.
as you might imagine, Jeff Jarrett's going to hit Ken Shamrock with a chair shot to the head, throw him in the ring. McMahon just covers up and they call for the bell. So some shenanigans are afoot here.
Yeah.
The whole higher power thing being revealed to be Vince who kidnapped his own daughter and some of this. Is this one of the more nonsensical pieces of creative in WWE history, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think when you sit back and look at it and try to evaluate it, make some sense out of it, it's hard to make sense out of it. But yeah, I think so. It was, I remember Vince saying it was me, Austin, it was me all along or something along those lines. And that's kind of how that worked out. But it was a stretch to reality. It just didn't make a lot of sense. And Vince put all the eggs in that angle in one basket, the McMahon basket, because at one time we had all four McMahons doing something on the show.
Yeah, I mean, even a McMahon in every corner, that WrestleMania was just a little overdone for me. What was not overdone is the June 14th Raw. I encourage you to go out of your way to see this. It went down in 1999. That's June 14th. And we would see highlights from quote unquote earlier in the day, where we would see Stone Cold have his first day as CEO at Titan Tower. This is a hilarious piece of business. We see Stone Cold show up to work as CEO in his ring vest, a pair of shorts and boots, just like we see on TV when he's stomping to the ring. Well, that's the way he's walking into Titan Towers. And he's going to talk to the secretary right up front and say he doesn't like the way she's answering the phones. You should be answering the phone saying, "Who the hell is this? And what the hell do you want?" This is hilarious stuff.
Hey, there's some truth in that. There's a lot more reality in that statement than one would ever imagine. But he was a great character. He assimilated to a variety of roles and descriptions, and was just a great performer in a non-wrestling role. I think he was just as effective in the non-wrestling role, Conrad, as he was in the ring as the Texas Rattlesnake. It worked. He just got over, and it worked. He could connect to the audience, and it was a new venture for him. And I think that excited him because he liked new stuff. He liked new ideas. And we certainly gave him some new stuff to think about. There's no doubt about that. And he did a hell of a job carrying that description.
There's a series of really fun events here. He's going to be firing the guy in marketing for looking stupid. You're going to say, nobody even knew what that guy did anyway. Yeah. He's giving people promotions. He's passing out beers to everyone first thing in the morning. He's meeting with the accountant to go over the books. And he's saying, hey, shift some zeros into Mick Foley's account to help him pay for some medical bills. This is really fun stuff. Were you a part of shooting any of these vignettes? What do you remember about this fun day as Austin as CEO? This is silly fun.
Yeah, it was. And I helped facilitate making sure we had all the right bodies there. I see there's the late Ed Cohen, one of my dear friends, sitting there on the right side of the screen, who was in charge of arena bookings. Ed Kaufman sitting across from him, chief legal counsel. So it was pretty cool. Is that Howard? Is that Howard on the right side of the screen there, Conrad? It looks like Howard.
No, I don't think so.
The ball person. In any event, I only helped facilitate getting all the people there that they wanted in the shot. But it didn't have a script, no script. It was just an ad lib. We kind of knew the direction we wanted to go in, but we're going to leave a lot of that up to Steve because it was all about him. And so no script, and Austin's own creative abilities were on display, and he did a great job.
we would see shots of Austin going into Vince's office, and you would remark that Vince has a shrine to himself in his office. And one of the awards that we see shows a younger version of Vince, of course. And you're going to say something like, that must have been before the facelift.
Oh, God.
And eventually, Austin orders some guys to bring in some wheelbarrows of horse manure right here into Vince's office. Really fun stuff. Go out of your way to check it out. Let's talk a little bit about what's next here for the King of the Ring. We got to actually run through some preliminary matches before we get to the down and dirty of the tournament. We'd see Billy Gunn pick up a win over Viscera. We'd see Shamrock get a win over Jeff Jarrett in a rematch from the prior year's King of the Ring. We would see Big Show beat Draws. We'd see Kane pick up a win over Test. Road Dogg would beat Godfather. China would beat Val Venus. Bob Holly over Al Snow. X-Pac over the Boss Man. And before you know it, we're on our way here to the King of the Ring. This is the first pay-per-view back after the Owen Hart debacle at Over the Edge. And maybe this tournament maybe it doesn't look all that strong on paper, but we've got some heavy storylines, right? We've got Mr. Ass and X-Pac and some other DX members fresh off of really an incredibly hot merchandise run. The actual live event, though, has a dark match that's worth mentioning. Meat beat Kurt Angle. How about that? Sean Stasiak is actually going to beat Kurt Angle in a dark match before we go live here. And it's written here at the time, the report to Dave says, Angle was said to look like someone who would have been a major star as a babyface in the 70s. Now, of course, we know later on this same year, I think it's Survivor Series, that's when Kurt Angle would make his pay-per-view debut. His opponent that night, Sean Stasiak, just like here in a dark match. I mean, when you took a look at what you had in Kurt Angle, here he is in June working a dark match. We're not going to debut him until November. Did you think he was ready here in June?
I thought he needed a little bit more time, a little more time to get his the psychology down and his timing. But he was such a natural, gifted athlete. You know, he didn't need anything. He just needed experience and reps. So, but it was obvious to anybody that was paying attention or that had any knowledge of the business that Kurt was going to be a great star, superstar. He was close already. He just needed to get experience and stay in that wrestling room, shall we say, and continue to work on his timing and, of course, the all-important crowd psychology. He had great crowd psychology, and it was a natural gift. He was just really, really natural at his approach, and it was good for us because it was another young star that we were developing that you can't get too many of those, and there are not too many Kurt Angles, quite frankly.